At Edmunds, we've owned more than 20 EVs over the past 10 plus years and driven thousands of miles in them. We've lived with these cars and we know that there are many advantages and some changes that come with them too. Now that's why we've teamed up with the experts over at CarMax to help you understand if an EV is the right fit for your life. So, how exactly does your life change when you buy an EV? Let me tell you. When I talk to people about owning an electric vehicle, the first thing they worry about is range. And to be honest, I don't think about range much at all in my day-to-day life, and it doesn't need to be a headache. Why? All these EVs we've owned recently got more than 250 miles of range in our real-world Edmunds range test. That's actually pretty standard these days. That means that even though my commute is pretty long, about 20 miles each way, I still only need to charge up once a week. I'm lucky because I can charge at the office, so I don't need a charger at home. Maybe you haven't noticed them at your workplace before, but check into it to see if they're available. While you're working, your car is filling up. Oh, speaking of parking, here's a bit of advice. If you live somewhere with extreme hot and cold temperatures, think below freezing and above 90 degrees, get in the habit of parking in your garage or under the shade. Why? Well, because extreme hot and cold weather reduce your range. We went on a winter adventure last year, parked one of our EVs outside in sub-zero temps overnight, and we lost almost 10% of our charge. If your battery was low already, your day may not start out all that sunny. Every EV will react a little differently, but it's good to know that the colder or hotter it gets, the more effect it can have on your battery. Okay, if I need to pick up a little extra charge while I'm out, I try to look for a level 3 charger, commonly known as a fast charger. Depending on your car and the charger, a level 2 charger can get your car from 0 to 80% in about 4 to 10 hours, while level 3 chargers can do it in 20 minutes to an hour. Let me pause here for a second. If you're wondering what the heck I'm talking about when I say level 2, 3, and fast charger, check out our video that'll explain everything you need to know about the differences in charge levels and what they actually mean. To find chargers in my area, I've used a couple different apps to help me see where they are. Now there are a lot of apps out there, so it's really just based on you finding what you like. So go ahead and experiment to see what's in your area. There are a few different brands that run most of the charging stations, like Electrify America or ChargePoint. If you've got a lot of stations from one brand in your area, you can think about getting a subscription with them. As the charging infrastructure grows, there is a decent chance that the places you normally shop and eat will have chargers too. Those apps I mentioned earlier will come in handy to show you where they are. Picking up a few miles of range while you're out isn't a change of your daily routine, it's more of a change in your thought process. But I don't want to make it seem like it's some magical charging wonderland out there. Maybe your area doesn't have a lot of public charging options. And you know what? Not all EVs charge at the same rate. Some are fast, some are slow. And the same goes for charging stations themselves. It can easily take an hour to 4 to 10, depending on these factors, to get a full charge. That is, of course, if the chargers are available and working. You may even need to wait for one to be free, increasing that overall wait time. In short, public options can be an investment of your time. I have friends that live this public charging only lifestyle, and they tell me you're gonna need a plan and a somewhat flexible schedule. But remember, a lot of EVs have over 250 miles of range, so charging isn't a required everyday occurrence. I'm able to charge at work and top off the battery when I'm out shopping, so it's really not a big deal for me. Plus, the vast majority of EV owners charge at home, either through an installed charger or a standard wall outlet. You're gonna have to weigh all of these factors for yourself and see what's available in your area to decide if it's worth the time and the money. In my case, it is. People I've talked to always seem to think that charging an EV is such a huge hassle, but it's really not. That is, until I take a road trip. I've taken a few road trips in our EVs, and this is what I've learned. Remember what I said before about public charging? You'll definitely need a game plan. I always plan my route ahead of time so I know where I'm charging. But I also make sure I know where some backup stations are just in case. Pretty much all of our editors have had issues with chargers being busy or just plain broken. And that's super stressful. I mean, imagine that happening after hours of driving late at night. If my trip is short enough, however, I'll plan one charging session. I took a 500-mile trip and only did 1/2 hour stop. But if I'm on a longer trip, or if you have kids with you, plan more frequent, shorter stops. That averages to stopping for about 15 to 20 minutes every 2 hours or so, which you do anyway if you have a toddler with you. Now, that only works with certain EVs, mostly Teslas and most models made in the last few years. Some older EVs take so long to charge, even at fast chargers, or they just don't have enough range for me to want to road trip in one. EVs are designed to be excellent everyday life commuter cars. But take them out of their element and onto the long open highway, and it can be a hassle. I do 1 or 2 trips a year, so I can manage it. But if you do a lot of trips, I strongly advise you think this through. It's definitely harder to be spontaneous on the weekend with an EV. But what about upkeep, you may ask? Regular maintenance is easy with EVs. There's no oil changes, so for the most part, it's just simple checkups to make sure everything's in working order. You still need tire rotations and tire replacements, and you have to replace the tires more often due to the weight of the battery. But interestingly, you'll need fewer brake jobs due to regenerative braking. For more details on the why and what the heck regenerative braking is, check out our video on EV versus gas maintenance. And like every other modern car, you'll get notifications letting you know when it's time to service your car. Software updates are another important factor of EV ownership. Much like your cell phone, they happen wirelessly. Some are fast, and some can take a really long time to install. We've had some updates that told us we can't drive the car for several hours while it installs the new software, and others have told us the car needs to remain plugged in. One even told us we wouldn't be able to unlock it and get into the car while it was updating. While this may seem like a real problem, the reality is that these major updates can be scheduled for a time that's convenient for you. So I just set mine to happen overnight while I sleep, and they have zero impact on my day. Sometimes owning an EV means a little more planning and maybe a little less spontaneity. But you also never have to pull into a gas station ever again, and that feels pretty dang amazing. Hit up the comments and let us know what other questions you want us to answer about EVs next.